The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome everyone to our webinar about the new features of the TTS Performance Suite 2022 R2. Let me shortly introduce myself. My name is Stefan Hilbrand. I'm a product manager here at TTS, and I will guide you today through the presentation of the new features of the TTS Performance Suite. As nearly always, by my side today is my colleague Christian Engel. Christian, would you shortly like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Stefan, and welcome to this webinar session, everyone. My name is Christian Engel. I'm Customer Success Manager at TTS, and today I will take care of your questions. In case any questions will come up during the presentation, please feel free to use the chat box in your control panel, enter your question there. It will appear then on my screen, and I can hand it over to Stefan in the right moment when we get to answer this question. So yeah, enjoy everyone.
Thanks, Christian, and please do not hesitate to ask any questions as soon as you have anyone, and Christian will take care to hand them over to me. So let's dig directly into the presentation and see what the new version brings us with it. New features and all the stuff I'd like to present you today. As you might know, the TTS Performance Suite covers the whole content life cycle, beginning from the production of content with either the creator or the producer, going over to the curation and management of content within the curator, assigning it to, for example, topics, processes, or courses. Of course, the usage of content within the web access or the quick access, and last but not least, the monitoring of the success of the content within the TTS Analytics dashboard. With the 2022 R2 release, we are mainly focusing on the upper two of parts of the content lifecycle. So we are mainly adding features regarding the production and the usage of content with a short or some minor features within the monitoring, but they will be mentioned at the end of the presentation in short. So let's go directly into the new features regarding the production. And as we already did in the past, we will start with the creator. So with our web-based content creation tool and the new feature that is added to the creator. And this is a possibility to start our recorder directly from the browser. So with the versions before, if you wanted to either add a recording or start a new document with a recording, you needed to open the creator document on your local machine by either downloading it from the curator or starting a new document from the QuickAccess. This is not necessary anymore, so no download needed anymore, since the recorder can now be started directly from the browser. And if you keep your browser window open, which you will do, so your result will immediately be visible within the creator window within your browser, and you will immediately see what you are recording without the need of any down or uploading in between. I think it gets more clear when we show a little example of how that looks. I'm here in my Chrome browser, in the curator view within my Chrome browser, so no client tool open at all, just the browser. And as we have done in the past already, I can now create a new document here, which I want to edit or create by using the creator. So I just click on new document in the toolbar here, and I add a new document, and I want to add a document that describes how you can check if a website is secure. I have it already here in my recommendations. So how to check if a website is secure, that's the title of my document. I would now be able to add some more metadata if I want to, but let's keep it like that for the moment. And we decide to use the creator to create that kind of document. And afterwards, and nothing new until now, the creator opens within my browser window and I can start creating my document. In the past, when we have a look at the sidebar on the left side, we only had the option here to open this document in the desktop app in case that we wanted to add some recorded steps to this document. This option was now removed since there is no need anymore to open this document in the desktop app, but we can just start the recorder that we want to use now by click on the recorder button here, and immediately my recorder toolbar is opened and it's ready to start the recording within or on my screen. There is a slight difference to starting the recorder or starting the recording when you know how to start a recording within the producer. If you click on record within the producer client, the recording starts immediately since the producer's client then is minimized and everything is minimized and the target application you have chosen before is directly recorded. Since we don't know which application you want to record within the creator, and it might be that you want to record something within the browser itself or somewhere else, we don't immediately start the recording, but just open up the recorder so that you now have time to prepare your screen for the recording. So let's get the creator to that side over here, and I want to explain something about security certificates. So let's open up that paper website to explain this on the other hand. And now that my screen is prepared, I can immediately start the recording by clicking on the little record button and start recording in my target application. So if we want to check if the website is secure, we click on the little log item over here on the button. Let's see if the certificate is valid and maybe check the expiry date. And that's it for the moment. You see on the right side of my screen that the steps I just recorded were immediately added to my creator and are immediately available within my creator window. So I can now edit everything I maybe want to edit here. I can add any explanatory texts if I want to. And afterwards, I just need to click on save. The creator is closed, my document is saved, and I have my finished recording available directly within my curator window without the need to download anything in between. And my recording is just fine and just finished with a few clicks directly within the browser. So it wasn't, or it won't get any easier to create recordings without the need of any client installation. Of course, you need to have the QuickAccess installed since this brings the recording component with it, but without the need of open it explicitly and preparing anything before for recording applications. Having this feature available, so having the possibility to start recordings from the browser and to start the recorder directly from the browser, we also had the possibility to unify the user interface of our creator. You might know that the creator has two methods of opening it, of starting it. One we have just seen by using the curator. This is more meant to be used by the advanced authors or by the trained authors, which already know the curator, and they can click on create document, add all the properties they want to add, and use the full power of the curator to add to create documents they want to edit with the creator. The other, more or less the first way of opening and accessing the creator is via the quick access. By double clicking on the orange, the creator is opened and documents can be created either by end users or by subject matter experts. And if they want to save the document afterwards, they get a slightly reduced set of properties depending on the property template that was assigned to this document before, so that they are not confused by the amount of properties and by all the options they might have within the full-blown curator. Those are the both ways that we can access the creator in general. In the past, if you chose to open the creator via QuickAccess, a little window with an embedded browser was opened and the creator was embedded into this window, and you could use the creator as it would be a normal desktop application. We now unified those access paths to the creator so that now when you click on the orange within the QuickAccess, your standard browser, the browser you defined as the default browser within your operating system, is just opened, and it's opened with the creator so that there is no other slightly different looking tool anymore, but it's exactly the same view of the creator that you would get when you open the creator from the curator as just seen as well. You might remember that you also had the possibility in the past to not just add step lists when opening the creator from the QuickAccess, but to also upload external documents like PDFs, Word files, or images directly via the QuickAccess to the curator. This was in the past realized by a little button within the recording toolbar. If you maybe have seen before our target vision of how the creator should look like in one of our presentations we've given on that topic, you might be aware of the approach of implementing something like content templates within the creator. And to give this feature a little start, we started with the first little content template within the creator by adding this functionality of uploading external documents now as a kind of a content template within the creator as soon as it is opened from the QuickAccess. To make this a little bit clearer, I'll show you a little example. So I just minimize my Chrome window here with the curator, and I don't need this paper window anymore, so that we can start from a blank screen to see how the creator looks when opening it from the QuickAccess. I just double click on the orange, and then my default browser, which in that case is my Firefox browser, opens. And my Firefox browser now, since I opened the creator from the QuickAccess, offers me two options. The one option is to create a step list, and the other one is to upload an external document. So those are basically the first two content templates, so to say, we now have the step list template and the template for external documents that an author or a subject matter expert could choose from when creating a creator document. So let's just start with a step list again. Let's assume I'm an information security officer and I want to create a little recording about how to check if my firewall is activated and up to date within my Windows system. So I can now, after double clicking on the orange and choosing the step list, just start the recorder as we did before. I can prepare my screen, I can click on record, and afterwards I can go through my system and see if we find our firewall settings and check if the firewall is up to date. So here we are, firewall settings, and in all three kinds of network, the firewall is on. So everything seems to be fine. So we can stop our recording, and now we have our recording available within our creator window, and we can just, as in that case, subject matter expert that I am as an information security officer, I can give that document a title. So how to check the firewall status, and just click on save, and then I'll get my reduced property dialog with very few options that I just can add. The other options are already set by the template, and then I click on upload, save my document, and my document is saved to the system. My creator window is closed afterwards, and that's it. No further action needed. But maybe I don't want to record anything and I don't want to explain how to check if your firewall is up to date and running, but I just want to publish a new information security guideline, then I can use the creator as well, again, by double clicking and choose not to create a step list, but to upload a document. So I click on my upload dialog. I just open my Windows Explorer, go to the files, and select my information security guideline that I want to upload here, and put it per drag and drop into this window to upload it. Just give it a title again, information security guideline. Really hard to type and talk at the same time. Again, I have a reduced set on properties and information that I can add here, since the rest is automatically added by the property template. And afterwards, click on the upload button, and the document was uploaded before. And the creator basically is the same screen now as it was when it was started from the curator. To see if my documents are really available, I can choose the right-click button here on the QuickAccess, open my work pool, and see where my documents landed after uploading them. So the work pool opens within the default browser again. So again, in my case, within the Firefox, and I can click on my documents to see that how to check the firewall status is uploaded, as well as my information security guidelines. So all my documents are there available and could be sent through the workflow if I haven't defined before in the property template that they should be released immediately.
So Stefan, thank you so much. There is a question from the audience which reads, will all users be able to record from the browser, or do you need a producer profile?
It depends on what you want to achieve. So basically, if you choose that all users should be able to record or to create documents by using the creator, normally the way would be to offer this possibility via the QuickAccess. So as it already was possible in the past, so to just give your users the right to create documents in a certain document type and assign this document type to the QuickAccess property template, and then all those users would be able to record stuff within the creator. If you want to just your curator users, so your trained authors, to be able to record documents, you don't need to change anything. They will be automatically able to record from the browser as soon as your QuickAccess client and your server is updated, and they don't need to have a producer client installed, since the recording component is installed with the QuickAccess and not with the producer client in that case.
Thank you. Let's proceed.
So we're now switching from the production to kind of the usage side, with a little bit of the curation and management side as well. The next feature I want to show you is about adding search parameters to external links. And with this feature of adding search parameters to link documents created within the curator, we are now able to offer additional search sources to our end users in a context-sensitive manner. So we can add documents that have a normal context and are therefore only found within a certain context, but that consist of parameters that transfer our search terms and search parameters to any given system we want to transfer it to. So by doing that, we can create context-sensitive search sources for other sources, and as a little bonus, we can very simply assign an individual icon to such a link. so that it is displayed in an attractive manner within the QuickAccess and looks good when pointing our users to a different search source. So let's again have a look on how this looks in practice here again. You might be aware already of our, not double clicking, but one clicking of our toolbar down below here in the QuickAccess that was already able to transfer your search terms to different search sources. So in my case here in my demo system, to maybe the Microsoft Help, to YouTube, to SharePoint, or in that case to a contact form. The downside of such a bottom bar is that it is shown always, and we cannot decide which of those links down below here should be shown in which specific context. By the new possibility we now have with the parameterized links, we can decide whether we want to show certain links only in a certain context. So let's have a little example here. Let's go to our document site, close the QuickAccess for a while, and start with, for example, the Microsoft Help. When we have a look at this document here and look at the properties of this document, then we see that this link now that points to the Microsoft Help consists of two parameters. The first one is a parameter called l.user, and the second one is c.a. And it's those are, the first one is replaced by the language of the current QuickAccess user when clicking on the link. And the second one stands for context all, so for all search terms that are available within the QuickAccess at a given time point. You can use this short form of writing those parameters. We have a long form available as well if you prefer to have it in the long form, like language double.user and not just l double.user, or context and all and so on. But I find it more or better to oversee if you use the short form, but that it just depends on your personal preferences. So as you can see, I've given this document a context within the QuickAccess, that this document is just shown in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and so on and so on. And therefore, this document will only be shown if one of the given applications is active. So let's release this document to see what it does. If I am now in a certain application that I added to the context, like Excel, and open the QuickAccess, and I'll get some results to my application, like I get here. I also get my parameterized link, like I just showed, the link to the Microsoft Help, that could offer me now to search for further information within the Microsoft Help website, in the case I'm in Excel and the information given above don't help me. If I'm now in any other application, like for example SAP, and I'm just finding a context which is valid for SAP, my Microsoft Help link is not shown since it is context sensitive, and it detects that a Microsoft Help link, of course, might be not that helpful within SAP, and therefore it is not shown and not presented within this result list. And that's one of the big advantages of these parameterized links, that I really can use them context sensitively and only in those situations where they might be appropriate. So let's have a little example. Maybe I'm within Excel and I don't know how to do a VLOOKUP, and I'm searching for VLOOKUP within my QuickAccess, and unfortunately there isn't any context for a VLOOKUP within my QuickAccess given. So I can now click on my Microsoft Help button. All my search terms as well as my language, we can see it over here that there is ENUS, my language term is transferred, and all my search terms are transferred. And I can I immediately find some helpful information to the VLOOKUP function that might lead me to the task I wanted to fulfill to add such a function to my document. As you can see, this little help result entry within my QuickAccess also consists of a little Microsoft icon. This is really easily added by adding such an icon within our settings of the curator within our defined file types dialog and giving this item a certain kind of technical name. And then I can really easily assign this icon to my document, to my Microsoft Help link document. And then it is shown like you can see here in a quite attractive manner within my QuickAccess result link in all the situations that the link might be helpful in. Oops, starting a little bit too early. Here we are. Additionally, if you have some situations where the normal context won't be sufficient to achieve some good result for an external search source, we introduce some more special kind of contexts to help you to display the right kind of link document, the right kind of link to point to new search sources in such a special situation. The first one you've just seen without noticing that you have just seen it. The first one is the hashtag other. If you add hashtag other to any given context, I've done it with my Word, Excel, PowerPoint 2019 context in the document you've just seen, then the mechanism of the QuickAccess that filters results that are detected by a technical context like Word, Excel, and so on, as soon as you enter or as you add a manual context like I did with VLOOKUP, as soon as you have hashtag other added to a document like I did within the Microsoft Help, those documents are still visible no matter which manual context I add to the technical context that matches that document. So with the hashtag other, I can prevent the filtering of such a document to have it available in all the situations where the user might search for a term that I could not foresee before. The next one is hashtag all. Hashtag all, like the word already says, is built to be displayed in all search situations. So really in any given search result, no matter for which search term you search, hashtag all will show you this document, this link in really each and every result that is displayed within the QuickAccess. And a special search context we also added is has user search input. So if your users manually entered any search input, you can react within your result list by pointing those users maybe to something like your intranet page or to a SharePoint, since the probability that the users, if they enter manual search terms, will search for something more company specific is higher than it is when the search term is some technically detected search term, like, for example, an Office application or something else. So with the hashtag has user search input, you can specially assign a certain search source for manual search requests. So let's have a look at some examples for the usage of those hashtag contexts. As I already pointed out, my Microsoft Help context uses this hashtag other, therefore it is not filtered when adding a manual context to one of my technical contexts before. If I want to have something like Google or, for example, YouTube available in each and every of my search results, I can simply add a document, in that case, a Google document with a search parameter, In that case, again, a context all, so the whole search result will be transferred to Google with my hashtag all, so that my Google search link will be shown in each and every search result that will be displayed within the QuickAccess. So I make this document available, and afterwards we will see that no matter what I search for within the QuickAccess, and no matter if this is technical context, like now the TTS curator, or if I go into my Excel and search for just the VLOOKUP without Excel, then you will see that always my Google result will be shown and will be available, since it is really shown in each and every case, and all points out that this search link is shown in all situations. The last example is the example of has user search input, and in my case, I want to point my users to SharePoint if they enter something manually, and I only want to transfer the search term they entered manually. So no matter in which kind of technical application context they are, I just want to transfer my technical search, my user search term, and therefore I added this parameter of context user at the end of the link here, so that only the user search input will be transferred to SharePoint when clicking on the link. I release that document as well. Again, I can assign one of the icons here. I assign a SharePoint icon I uploaded before. And then when, for example, I am in Excel and I activate the sync of the QuickAccess and I'm in Excel, so I now see at first my Google result because it's shown in all search situations. I see my Microsoft Help result since I am in Excel and it is shown within my Excel situation. And I now want to know how to do my travel expenses. And I search for travel expenses. And I find some maybe useful information already within the QuickAccess. And since this is now a manual search term, and the manual search term most likely will be answered by any of my internal systems, my SharePoint link is added to my search result list, and I can click on search SharePoint, and only my user search is added to my search words here in SharePoint, and maybe I can find an explanation of how to do my travel expenses here within my SharePoint directory. Of course, those special contexts that we designed for the purpose of searching in additional sources might not be only used for searching, but can be also used for another application, and that application is pinning content. If you have some really important content that you want to show to all of your employees, no matter what they are really searching for, because you have some really urgent document that everyone should read or something like that, you are now able to pin such an important document by using the hashtag pinned. And afterwards, this document is again assigned to a special performance support category, like it is done with the all, the other, and the has user search input hashtag as well. But the pinned hashtag is assigned to a different performance support category, so that you can really show this information to each and every user each and every time they look into the QuickAccess. So let's assume again that me as an information security officer, I want to make sure that all of my users really notice and take notice of the new information security guideline. Therefore, I can go into my information security guideline here. Of course, I have to release it, and I give it the context hashtag pinned. This leads to the situation that this document now is shown in each and every search result of the QuickAccess. And you might see it here. I've created I've named this performance support category important information and put it to the top of my performance support categories so that no matter in which context my users are searching for information, maybe in Excel again, this important information of my new information security guideline is always pinned to the first result in that case, since my performance support category is the first one in my order of PSCs, and is shown to really each and every user. And with these two performance support categories, the one for the search links and the other one for the pinned content, you can assign a little bit what information is more important to your users. So the pinned category might really be the first one to be placed in your result list, while the search in other sources performance support category might be the last one to display other results first if you have results available within your internal curator system. Are there any questions so far regarding links and special contexts before we move on to a different topic? Since I don't hear Christian, I think there are no questions yet, and we will move on.
Exactly, no questions left.
Okay, perfect. Then we switch from the QuickAccess to our producer and to the production of e-learning content. The first new feature about the producer I want to show you is was often requested by our customers and is a feature to give you some more clarity while creating HTML5 content. As you might know, we have a slight difference of how to use HTML5 and HTML4 content, how to create it in HTML5. Many features are realized by using smart components, and therefore some of the old functions within the user interface that were meant to create HTML4 content are not those functions you need to use to achieve the same goal within HTML5. And to don't lead you into confusion of which function to use, we are now able to adapt our menus dynamically to the selected output format of the document you are currently editing. So if you are editing an HTML4 document, then all the functions that are available within HTML4 are visible and clickable. And if you edit a HTML5 document, then all the functions that are available to HTML5 content are visible and clickable, and all other functions will be disabled so that you see on the first side if a function is usable within HTML5 directly from the menu, or if it's realized, for example, by using smart components or something like that. So let's have a look into an example for that as well. Starting our producer, going into our little example here. And I have a document here that is, I can show you within my document properties, that is currently set to, well, it's not still set to HTML4, but I will set it to HTML5 at that point. And as soon as I have an HTML5 document and I, for example, go to the structure tab where I normally would add a parallel path, then you can see that parallel paths are not available via that function in HTML5 since they are realized by using smart components. In that case, a smart component mark as visited. And therefore, this function is now disabled so that I don't can be confused if I can now use this function and it will be transformed into HTML5 content or not. If I decide to switch back to HTML4 within this document, then my function for adding parallel paths is immediately reactivated again and can be normally used. So by that, dynamically switching between the activation and deactivation of the functions, you can now be always sure that the available functions you see within the UI are usable and functionable for the output format you've just selected. So we just switch back to HTML5 here and can go over to the next topic. And the next topic also is about the producer and is about the recording within the producer. In certain situations, when recording applications, especially web applications, you might find yourself in the situation that you click on a certain object within a target application and see the result afterwards within the producer. And since it was a quite nested object with a lot of little icons on the object and or something like that, you can see that maybe you just clicked just a child object of the object, and the frame now available within your e-learning unit does not match the object you wanted to click. We've now made the little green frames you already know from the creator optionally available within the producer as well, so that you can see while recording which object was detected by the recorder and which object will be recorded as soon as you click on it, and therefore really can decide while recording if you want to, for example, just record a little child object of a button, or if you want to record the whole button, and if you want to click on the whole button to have it in your result afterwards. This little feature also makes it easier to record nested menus, since we can directly see whether the menu item was really recognized or some object lying underneath, which especially in nested web menus might be tricky sometimes. So let's have a look at an example for this as well. I just delete those steps here and start a new recording. And I prepared a little document within my Word Online. Sorry that the Word Online is still in German, but I'm not allowed to switch the language within my browser, but I will try to record buttons that are self-explanatory, that you don't mind the German UI in my little Word application. I start the recording and I switch to my browser here, to my Word document, and then my Word document is placed within the recorder window. And then you already see that there are now these little frames that mark the object I am currently targeting with my cursor, and that would be recorded as soon as I click on it. So let's go into those table formatting tools here and have a little example here with the table frame tools. If I place the cursor slightly, let's say wrong here, I would now just record this little arrow pointing down when in the past I might I might think that I would record the whole button. By now seeing this little green frame, I can directly indicate that I'm only on this little arrow here and move my mouse a little bit left or right so that the whole button is selected again, and then can be sure that when I click this button, that really the large button is recorded and transferred into my e-learning afterwards, and not just the little button within this little arrow when I have such a nested object. The same with this menus here. So like this menu about the line height of the table I'm currently selected. If I move my cursor slightly to the left or slightly to the right or slightly up or slightly down, I might not record the menu item itself, but something like the document in the background or the menu here. And now I see what I really what I'm up to record and what I want to record, and I can decide, okay, this is really the object I want to record, this 0.25 point line strength, and then I can click it, and then I am really sure that the right object was recorded and transferred into my producer to edit it within my e-learning, my documentation, or my guidance view afterwards. And now when I go into my recording, into my recorded content, I see, for example, with the first object of this little frame button here, I see that really the whole object was recorded and not just the little arrow pointing down.
Thank you, Stefan. There is just incoming another question towards the recognition of buttons. So would it be possible to show in the future if the name of the button is recognized?
You already see this. You already see this within, at least within the producer. Let's start the recording again. Then we can show this. This is already the case. If I start a recording and go back to my Chrome document here again, and I, for example, go to this Rahmenauswahl button here and click on it, then you see, and I click on pause to show it, that he now within my recorder toolbar shows click Rahmenauswahl, and the last part is the name of the object in that case, which is called Rahmenauswahl in German. So then if I can see that there is not only standing click and then nothing, I can be sure that really the name of the object was detected correctly. I just
Perfect, thank you. It's good to know.
Throw this object away. Okay, then we're heading to the next topic, and I'll go to the current slide. And the next topic is about a new smart component we introduced with the 2022 R2 version, and the smart component is called Slider. And by using such a slider component, you will be, on the one hand, able to provide quiz questions where you have some kind of answer range. So where you don't need to really give an exact answer, but it would be sufficient if your employees give an answer within a certain range. And the other possibility that a slider offers us is to use it within our design of our e-learning units, since we are able to respond to slider events and the position of the slider with triggers, and therefore animate or react on the slider depending on the position where the user put it. So let's look into some examples of how to use the slider as well. I just prepared a little example here for both of the cases. The first one is the quiz case. So you see I've introduced here my slider component, and the quiz question I'm asking here is which percentage of German companies have fallen victim to cybercrime in the past? So, and if I go into my slider component here, you can see that I offer the answer possibility to give an answer between 70 and 80%, since depending on the poll, this is the answer that is actually given to that question. And I can, of course, define a sample solution. In that case, I just defined a sample solution somewhere in the middle at 75 to display if my employee is clicking on the Show Sample Solution button. Of course, as we are used to within smart components, we have several options of styling this slider, either by defining the colors and defining the dimensions and so on within this styling tab. Of course, we can decide whether we want to show this slider in a horizontal or vertical manner by adding such a rotation here. We can decide the step size and, of course, the range in which the slider operates at all. And if we want to give it a more complicated layout, we can, like we can do with other smart components as well, add an image strip with a more complex slider layout if it is not sufficient to just alter the colors like I did here. So as I already said, I defined an answer range here. So between 70 and 80 will be evaluated as the right answer. So let's have a look into the browser, how this really looks in practice when starting such a quiz. And as soon as I now point to something between 70 and 80, so let's go to something around 70 and click on evaluate, then my answer is evaluated as the right answer. So depending on the survey, between 70 and 80% of the companies state that they already became victims of cybercrime. And if I, of course, choose a totally wrong answer, therefore I restart the step again, like 25% and evaluate, then of course my answer is evaluated as the wrong answer, which is indicated by the color I just defined for the wrong answer, which is indicated by the feedback text I put over here. And I can now switch to my sample solution, which I defined to be at 75, that my sample solution is also shown to given a feeling for what the right answer could look like. So this is one use case for the slider component, so really use it for quizzes. The second one I'd like to show you within the editor at first. The second one is to use it as a design component. So I just build a simple example here with 3 trigger elements that react on my slider position. So my slider can go from 1 to 3 here, and this trigger reacts on the slider position on position 1, this one on 2, and this one on 3. And those triggers are animated or have animation triggers on this green bars that either show or hide those green bars, so that we have a kind of color change effect when changing the slider position. So how does it look within my e-learning unit? I go to the next step, and as soon as I now move my slider to a different position, the respective bar gets highlighted. And of course, I could still use this slider as a quiz component as well, but I can just use it for design reasons, or even combine those 2 possibilities of using it with my design and using it as a quiz component. Last but not least, there are still some features left that are not less important, but that are hard to show as a kind of a demo or within such a webinar. So we will just inform you about those features so that you are aware of it and know if you can make use of it in your organizations. The first one is that we improved the accessibility of producer content, and we've done this by two things we've changed. The first one is with the next smart component library, you will be able to define a tab sequence within your given smart components, so that if a user uses a screen reader and tabs through a learning unit by using the tab key on the keyboard, that you can now define in which order a smart component is selected and read out loud within the screen reader, so that you can bring all your interactive elements within a learning unit in the right order for a user that uses a screen reader. And the second measure we've taken is that we optimize the markup of hidden elements within our e-learning units. Those are mostly elements we use for technical reasons to position certain things that were in some screen readers still selected and read out loud. So we now improved the markup of those elements that we can make sure that those elements are not visible to screen readers anymore and don't disturb any user anymore when using a screen reader with one of the learning units. The extension for HTML context recognition we've introduced with the last two releases, first in Chrome and afterwards in the Edge browser, is now also available within the Firefox browser. So if you have an application where it isn't sufficient to detect the context by using the URL or the title of a website, but you need to distinguish between certain application contexts by using HTML elements, you are now able to do this in all three major browsers. So within the Chrome, the Edge, and the Firefox, the way of installation stays the same as with the two extensions we've had before. This is a feature that might be mostly important to our German-speaking users. When you create content with the creator, you can now use informal text as well. So in German, depending on whether you want to use the formal form or the informal form, you can now set a setting on the server, and all your creator documents, all the auto text created within the creator documents will use the informal form of speaking to people and not the formal one anymore. And our Matomo, which is the base of our analytics platform, which is the data source of our analytics platform, will be updated within the cloud. So for all our analytics cloud customers, automatically updated in the next few weeks to a newer Matomo version, Matomo 4, which brings some improvements in the performance, and of course, having a newer version of such a system available also adds to the security of such a system. So if you are using Matomo as a local instance and using a local analytics instance within your organization, you will be able to update to Matomo 4 as well with the next version. Are there any open questions left that we can answer now?
So no, for the moment, we do not have any questions left whatsoever. Dear audience, if you have any questions in the aftermath to this webinar session, please don't hesitate to either get in touch with Stefan Hilbrand or me, and we will try our best to clarify every question that's still open as fast as we can. So last but not least, I'd like to thank you for participating, for joining our webinar, and hope that you will enjoy our new features, and hope to see you soon or talk to you soon.
Yeah, not much to add from my side. Thank you all for joining our webinar and participating. Hope you enjoy the new release, and hope to see you next time when presenting our new features for the TTS Performance Suite. Have a nice day and see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.